Thank you for your time here this evening. Miss, I remain concerned about the long-term funding of Csiro and science more generally, but really acknowledge and congratulate your government on the additional $387.4 million over 4 years. Professor Huntington, Senator Whish-Wilson asked you to rule out further cuts in light of this injection of funding. I didn't hear a clear answer about whether you can actually rule out more cuts. We've heard that there's obviously big challenges in infrastructure upgrades and really necessary spending. Do you anticipate further cuts may be needed to maintain budget sustainability?
So over the medium term, as I said, this injection of funding gives us the confidence to step into the sustainability agenda, and we make our research portfolio investment decisions off the back of a rigorous prioritisation process, as well as what our funding trajectory would look like, and we need to hold space for prioritisation as we move into the future. But as I've said, we are now in a position to be able to stabilise the overall scale of our workforce, which gives us the opportunity that if we were to prioritise some areas, we could now reinvest in those higher priority areas rather than needing to crystallise savings.
What does holding space for prioritisation mean?
Science moves, priorities move. We will continue to always look at our research portfolio to make sure that it is absolutely optimised to achieve the best possible impact for Australia.
Okay. So, I don't want to verbally hear, but what I'm hearing is that for the sort of shortish term, it seems fine, but you just simply can't rule out cuts because you don't know what's going to happen in the future.
As I said, over the medium, we will always hold space for prioritisation. Over the medium term, we are confident that we can hold our overall workforce. And I think the thing to say here is that this injection of funding allows us to move away from the kind of pace and scale of changes that we've been experiencing over the last few years, which is a relief to all of our people and to all of us.
So at this point today, you don't expect any more cuts in the short term?
I don't want to speculate on the future. I don't want to foreclose. As I said, I'm not trying to be evasive. Yeah. We will always hold space to run research prioritisation processes. If we choose to deprioritise some areas, we are now in a position to be able to reinvest in higher priority areas as we go forward. Okay. But as I said, the pace and scale that we have been moving at will now significantly temper.
Okay. And how much space are you holding? What's your?
Sorry, that's a turn of phrase. That's a turn of phrase. Okay. We are currently, for example, going through a review of our facilities and services, and we have a upcoming review of the tech economy research area, and every year we will look across our research portfolio to make sure that we are tuned appropriately to make sure that we are optimising for maximum impact.
Okay. Thank you. Earlier you said in response to a question from Senator McDonald, that 200 ASL will be lost over the next year. But your evidence to Senator Whish-Wilson was that the 300 to 350 number that was part of your submission to the Senate inquiry is also correct. So what's the relationship between the 200 in the next year and the 350 that Csiro talks about?
At this point, I'm going to hand to Mr Munyard to take you through the deeper mysteries of ASL.
I can answer that. At a high level, Senator, it's the full-time impact of those 300 to 350. So some of those we'll see reduce in the 25-26 year. So we'll already see a reduction to get to the 5,300 in the current financial year. And then the full-year impact of the 300 reduction we expect to be 200 in 26-27, so 5.3 down to 5.100. So there's a part-year impact in 25-26 that we'll see the full-year impact in 26-27. So as I said before, it relates to all staffing impacts that we've announced already.
Mm-hmm. So it's 350?
It's the 300 to 350, yeah.
Okay. And how many staff have left Csiro since November 2025? Redundancies, term cessations, non-renewal of contracts, any other workforce measures Non-ongoing contracts, not renewed?
The exact figure from November 2025 I don't have in front of me. I'll have to take that on notice.
Do you have anything there?
I've got a figure for the current financial year to March 26, so over those 9 months, our FTE has reduced by 301 FTE, which, as I said earlier in an answer to an earlier question, will include the tail end of our enterprise services reform process that was kicked off around 12 to 18 months ago. And some of the research reductions that have already taken place out of that 300 to 350 to have that part-year impact this year.
And what's the headcount on that, not FTE?
The headcount that we currently have, the headcount reduction is 349.
Professor Huntington, I want to go back to your language about looking to the future, and I want to press you so I walk out of this room understanding exactly what is going to happen in the future for Csiro. What's your definition of medium term?
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years. And you've said stabilise our workforce. What does that mean?
Senator, I think many people who heard through the inquiry earlier in the year, and I'm sure you've been hearing this as well, that CSIRO has been undertaking a very significant number of changes over the last several years. We are now in a position to significantly temper the pace and scale of changes. We expect that the overall size of our research workforce can now stabilise, once we execute against these changes, can now stabilise over that medium term.
So, sorry, you are going to stabilise over the medium term the size of the workforce. Does that mean you expect your current headcount and full-time equivalent staff to be at the same level for the coming 4 years?
For our research workforce, yes, absolutely.
For your research workforce and for your wider workforce, including...
We very much expect that to be the case. The reason I put that caveat on is that we are living in a very, very unstable cost base at the moment, as you know, and so therefore we will continue to look to find savings through our operating expenditure and so forth.
So does that mean your numbers may decline in your non-research?
We don't expect that.
You don't expect that?
We don't expect that.
So can you tell me, and you may want to take it on notice, exactly what your research workforce is now in terms of headcount and EFT?
Mr Munier, do you have
for research and non-research staff?
Number?
So as at... I might have to take that exact split on notice.
Thank you. That would be very helpful to know your current numbers by headcount and equivalent full-time at present across the different parts of your Csiro workforce.
Thanks for your time again. Just hoping to return to our conversation we were having prior to the dinner break about holding space. And as I understand it, you meant you were holding some of your budget to spend on changing priorities?
Sorry, Senator, no. What I meant by that was it was a turn of phrase. What I meant by that was that, as I said, we will continue to review our research portfolio going forward in order to make sure that it is optimally tuned to it in order to achieve impact for Australia. And so, in that sense, we may need to make some reprioritisation decisions within the scope of some of those reviews, and that's what I meant by that.
Okay, so it's holding space to potentially make some cuts, but
intellectually holding space to allow us to make sure that we continue to tune our research portfolio.
And do you see that being a net loss of jobs or just a rearranging of?
No, the whole point about the conversation around we can now stabilise our workforce means that as we find some things that are higher priority, we will be able to invest in those as we go forward.
Thank you. That's thank you for clarifying that.
Apologies for the ambiguous term.
No problem at all.